Julia Gillard is heading home after her first overseas trip as Prime Minister, but she and her opposite number are still squabbling about the first stop of her world tour, Afghanistan. The opposition leader has accused the Prime Minister of playing dirty politics. He says she was well aware he already had plans to visit the troops when she asked him to join her there last weekend. Europe correspondent Philip Williams reports.
This is what Tony Abbott came to Britain for, a meeting of Conservative minds. One, the British Prime Minister David Cameron, the other hoping one day to get the same job, different country. But that goal probably wasn't enhanced by the opposition leader's admission he hadn't chosen his words well when he said he didn't go to Afghanistan with Julia Gillard because he was concerned about arriving in the UK suffering jet lag.
It's always been my intention to visit the troops in Afghanistan soon, and I'm not going to talk about when that might be, but that's always been my intention, and the Prime Minister's always been aware of that intention.
The opposition has accused the government of playing dirty politics on Afghanistan, saying the Prime Minister knew Tony Abbott was already planning his own trip to that country. But speaking in Brussels, Julia Gillard said she'd simply issued an invitation which had been declined, and that Tony Abbott's separate trip to Afghanistan had not been finalised.
Your suggestion that he had a fixed date to go when I issued the invitation to him is not correct.
The controversy over Afghanistan has been a diversion for the Prime Minister, who was in Brussels for day 2 of the Asian-European meeting. It began in the sumptuous Royal Palace. Presidents and Prime Ministers intrigued by the ornate ceiling and chandeliers coated with the shells of 1 million dead beetles. And in the palace, a royal welcome from the King. The champagne waved away. This was a work day. Julia Gillard admitted she was happier in Australia than strutting this international stage, but it was all part of the job. Before the flight home, a few hot Belgian chips and time to contemplate her first outing with Prime Ministers, Princes and Presidents. When the Prime Minister arrives back in Australia, she'll be far better versed in international politics, which would be handy given there'll be a huge number of conferences she's going to attend over the next few months, including the G20, where the personal contact she's made here may prove invaluable. Philip Williams, ABC News, Brussels.